Klay Thompson released a profile on Warriors coach Steve Kerr yesterday, detailing why Kerr chose to stay with the Warriors. And in the profile, Kerr told Thompson that 3 years ago, to entertain himself in press conferences, Kerr worked phrases from Taylor Swift's song All Too Well into his interview answers. Over the course of the full season, Kerr was able to sneak all of the song's lyrics into press conferences. Stephen A., well, I know you don't know all the words to All Too Well, and I want to know, was it the 10-minute version or the shorter version? What song could you sneak into your rants? What song could you get, like, lyrics into your rants here on First Take?
Well, me personally, I think about Jay-Z. Already Home is one of my favorites. Really, the fact is we not in the same bracket, not in the same league, don't shoot at the same basket, don't pay the same taxes. Stuff like that. That's kind of stuff I listen to and I incorporate in my own way in the First Take. I love Taylor Swift, but I got a different flavor.
That's totally fine. So maybe we can try and work in some of those lyrics here out throughout the rest of the year. All right, before we say goodbye, let's really quick get a game pick. Let's start with Pistons-Cavs. One word. Go ahead, Kenny. Pistons-Cavs.
I'm going with, we're going to see a game 7.
Okay.
Game 7.
Agree.
Spurs, T-Wolves?
Spurs, close it out.
I think so. I'm with my brother from Queens. Queens in the building.
Welcome back to First Take. Daryl Morey out as president of basketball operations with the 76ers. Josh Harris announced on Tuesday. Bob Myers, who was an executive with the Warriors and our colleague here at ESPN, will lead the search for the new head executive in Philly. Nick Nurse will remain the head coach. This comes days after the Sixers were swept by the Knicks in the Eastern Conference semifinals. The problem with the Sixers is their contract obligations. Next season, Philly will have to pay their stars and pay them a lot of money. They are the only team next season that will owe over $40 million to 3 players, not 1, not 2, 3 players on their roster. So given the contract structure and their struggles, should Tyrese Maxey want out of Philadelphia now?
You know what? I think that is something that he needs to strongly consider. It's got to be deflating and disappointing. He led the league in minutes this year, 38 minutes a game. He was the 5th leading scorer, averaging over 27 a game. The guy's a spectacular player. And Daryl Morey put him in a pinch. There's no way around it. Daryl Morey, listen, I like Daryl Morey. I respect him. But he's been too addicted to analytics for too long. And I've told y'all this story before, and I'm going to say it again. I know it's been uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable for people to hear. Damn that. We got to keep it a buck. Okay, here's the deal. Years ago, when they lost a playoff game, I knew that Daryl Morey was on his way. I knew it would be a matter of days before that man was gone. When he walked up to Tillman Fertitta with a bunch of stats, pointing out what they had did right and said, so you see, we really won. I knew it was over. Now, y'all figure out how I know that story. You understand? I ain't asking, I ain't guessing. I'm telling you. That's what happened, okay? The man is addicted to his analytics. 5 of the 6 years he's in Philadelphia, they make the playoffs. What does it matter? They never get to a conference finals. I know injuries had something to do with it, but Daryl Morey historically has leaned on stars. And a lot of people have been negligent when it comes to all the ancillary pieces around those stars that can help elevate you. The true winners that have won championships, they do it a bit differently. Sam Presti, for example, which is why he's the greatest executive in the sport right now. Having said all of that, you Bob Myers, he ain't gonna like this. This is our buddy. We worked on NBA Countdown. I got my mad love for my man Bob Myers. He gonna get mad. I don't give a damn. Man, hell with all of this nonsense, this talk about you gonna find somebody else. You already have who you need. You leave Elton Brand as your general manager. You handle the decision making as president of basketball operations. Just because you're the president of this new group that he's got going on does not mean that you're the president of sports for Harris Blitzer Sports and Entertainment. Damn it. Make part of your role finalizing the decisions for the 76ers. That's all. You leave the legwork to the GM you already have in place in Elton Brand, who knows a thing or two about basketball and knows what he's doing. He just answers to you. And you say yay or nay. We have executives in every industry allocating responsibilities to other people. And then when it's time for the decision to be made, you bring all the intel to them and they make the call. That's all Bob Myers has to do here. Josh Harris, don't listen to Bob Myers. Bob Myers, I don't give a damn. He got the Commanders. And Lord knows what else Harris has, the billionaire that he is. I do know this. He don't have a championship on an NBA level. Mm-hmm. Bob Myers got 4 of them. Why the hell are you going to look for somebody else? You do it. You make the call. Leave all the legwork to Elton Brand. Bring in whoever you want to along with Elton Brand. And make sure that the decision comes through you. Because that will entice Tyrese Maxey to say, hey, man, this is a good situation here. I'm in a good situation because I got an owner who brought in an executive that knows a thing or two about winning championships. I'm good. But to me, that's what it's going to take. And I don't think that any other kind of decision should be made. The hell with Bob Myers' search. Bob Myers needs to look in the mirror. That's where the search ends. You do it. I ain't telling him to give up the other stuff. Do that too. But there's nobody that needs to be making the decisions about the future of the Philadelphia 76ers over Bob Myers.
So right now It says Bob Myers, president of sports for Harris Blitzer Sports Entertainment, will lead the search for the new executive and will oversee the franchise's basketball department in the interim. So he is overseeing everything.
I'm saying wipe out the interim, Shay. Just stop it. Stop with the interim stuff. Let the city, Philadelphia deserves better. No interim status. You're a 4-time champion. Hell, you mean interim? That means you leave in the second you pick the successor to Daryl Morey. No, you be the successor. You tell the city of Philadelphia, the buck stops with me. That is the message the city of Philadelphia needs to be hearing from Bob Myers.
Well, we'll get to the city of Philadelphia in a little bit. That's one of the most overrated sports fan bases.
Oh, God.
Okay.
We'll spend some time on that in a little bit. That is a horrendous, always has been. I'll give you the statistics.
That is a lie.
I'll give you the statistics. I give you the statistics. So they had 5,000 people at a Game 7 Bucks Sixers in 82 with Julius on the team. And they won 99-98. And they had 35,000 across the street, Cubs Phillies on Mother's Day. I'll give you the statistics. Okay. Go ask Billy Cunningham.
Right.
It's a horrendous.
I'll also give you statistics.
That's terrible.
When I was there covering the team for 10 years,
right.
I worked in the city for 17 years,
right.
And I'm telling you right now, whether it was the Eagles, whether it was the Sixers, the house was packed. They didn't have these problems. When I was in the building, they didn't have that problem.
How about
What if the Warriors are not just looking for another role player, another veteran shooter, another small adjustment around Stephen Curry? What if the real move is bigger, louder, and way more dangerous than people are ready to admit? Because if Tyrese Maxey ever becomes even slightly available, Golden State cannot look away. They cannot pretend this is just another name on the rumor board. This is not a slow guard. This is not a safe, boring fit. This is a 25-year-old scoring weapon with speed, pressure, three-point range, and the kind of downhill attack the Warriors have been missing for years. And Dub Nation, be honest, when was the last time Golden State had a young guard who could put this kind of fear into a defense while Curry is still on the floor? That is where this whole idea becomes scary. Maxey next to Steph Curry is not just exciting, it is a problem, a real problem, because defenses already panic when Curry moves without the ball. They already lose their structure chasing him around screens, overplaying his gravity, sending 2 bodies at him before he even touches the ball. Now imagine that same defense trying to survive Maxey attacking the lane at full speed. Who are you helping off? Who are you leaving? Are you really going to step toward Maxey and leave Curry breathing room on the perimeter? Are you really going to stay attached to Curry and let Maxey turn the corner with a runway? That is not defense anymore. That is guessing under pressure. And against the Warriors, one wrong guess becomes 3 points, a back cut, a layup, or a crowd eruption at Chase Center. Now let's be clear, nothing is official. Maxey is still a Sixer. Philadelphia is not just handing over its franchise guard because Warriors fans want fireworks. This would be expensive, painful, complicated. It would probably cost real assets, real picks, maybe young players, maybe a package that makes fans uncomfortable. But that is the price of chasing one more real Curry window. You cannot say we want to maximize Steph's final years and then only shop in the clearance aisle. At some point, the front office has to decide whether this is a sentimental farewell tour or an actual title chase. Maxey would answer that question with force. He would bring youth to an aging core. He would bring rim pressure to an offense that can get too dependent on jumpers. He would bring a second engine, not just a passenger. And that matters because Curry should not have to be the beginning, middle, and end of every dangerous possession anymore. He needs someone who can bend the defense before the ball finds him. He needs someone who can attack a closeout, punish a trap, and force the opponent to defend all 94 feet emotionally, not just tactically. Maxey does that. He does it fast. He does it with confidence. He does it without needing to be treated like a fragile superstar. And that part might fit Golden State better than people think. The Warriors' system is about movement, decisions, timing, and chaos. Maxey is chaos with purpose. He is not just quick, he changes the tempo of a game. He can make a slow possession feel urgent. He can turn a rebound into panic. He can turn a simple screen into a breakdown. And for a Warriors team that has spent years trying to squeeze one more run out of the same formula, Maxey would feel like fresh oxygen. Not a replacement for Steph, not a replacement for the dynasty, a bridge, a weapon for now and a path for later. That is why this conversation hits so hard, because this would not only be about helping Curry today, this would also be about giving Golden State a future that does not fall off a cliff the second Steph slows down. Maxey is young enough to carry years, but good enough to help right now. That combination is rare. That is why Philadelphia values him. That is why it would take a monster offer, and that is exactly why Warriors fans should pay attention. The move that feels impossible is sometimes the move that changes everything. My take is simple. If Tyrese Maxey becomes even remotely available, Golden State has to make the call. Not because it's easy, not because it's cheap, because Curry's window deserves ambition, because the West is not waiting, because OKC, Minnesota, Denver, San Antonio, Houston, everybody is getting stronger, longer, faster, and louder. The Warriors cannot survive on memories. They need pressure. They need speed. They need a second nightmare. And Tyrese Maxey in blue and gold would be exactly that. So now I want to hear from you, Dub Nation. Would you give up major assets to put Tyrese Maxey next to Stephen Curry? Or is the price too dangerous for Golden State? Drop your take in the comments. Hit like if you want the Warriors to go big, and subscribe, because if a name like Maxey enters the conversation, this offseason can get wild fast.